Okay, let's unpack this a bit. Have you ever tried making plans with different friends and just noticed how differently they operate?
Oh, absolutely. You've got one friend who's instantly looking up, where the party's at, excited to just be around people.
Yeah, buzzing, right? And then maybe another friend is searching for a super quiet cafe.
Totally. Somewhere they can actually talk, maybe even read a book, peace and quiet.
Or even at work, right? A new project comes up. One person's like, okay, brainstorm, wild ideas.
Mm-hmm. And another is immediately thinking, right, first step, second step, timeline, breaking it down.
It's just fascinating, isn't it? Why we're all wired so differently.
It really is. Why do we lean towards certain ways of doing things or feel recharged by totally different stuff? How do we even see the world?
Exactly. And today we're actually doing a deep dive into a framework that, well, lots of people use to try and get a handle on these differences. The Myers-Briggs type indicator, you've probably heard of it, the MBTI.
Right. Very popular.
Yeah. And our goal here is just to kind of quickly pull out the main ideas, maybe help you understand yourself a little better, and maybe understand the people around you too.
Yeah, it's basically a tool inspired by the psychologist Carl Jung's ideas about personality. It was actually developed by a mother-daughter duo, Isabel Myers and Catherine Briggs.
Oh, really? During World War II, wasn't it?
That's right. They thought, well, if people understood their differences better, maybe they could find jobs that suited them, even during the war, and just cooperate more effectively.
Makes sense. And it puts people into, what, 16 types based on their preferences?
16 distinct types, yeah. And preferences is the absolute key word there.
Right. It's not about ability, is it? It's like preferring your right hand over your left.
Precisely. You can use both, but one just feels more natural, more comfortable. That's the idea. And it's built on 4 pairs of these preferences.
Okay, 4 pairs. Let's break those down. What's the first one?
So the first is extroversion, that's E versus introversion, I. And like you hinted at earlier, it's not really about being shy or outgoing in the typical sense.
Okay, so what is it about then?
It's about where you get your energy, where you focus it. So extroverts tend to be energized by the external world, people, activities, things happening out there.
Right, they get a buzz from being around others.
Exactly. Whereas introverts, they recharge differently. They gain energy more from their inner world. Reflection, right. Solitude, quiet.
Gotcha. So kind of like how you power up your batteries. Makes sense. What's next?
Next up is sensing, S versus intuition, and note the N for intuition, because I was already taken by introversion.
Ah, good point. Okay, S versus N. What's that about?
This one describes how you prefer to take in information, how you perceive things around you.
Perceive.
Okay. So sensing types, the S folks, tend to focus on the reality of what's right here, right now. They trust concrete facts, details, things they can see, hear, touch, their 5 senses.
Okay. Very practical, grounded.
Pretty much. Intuitive types, the Ns, they're often more drawn to the possibilities, patterns, connections between ideas, what could be, abstract concepts, the future.
So one's focused on what is, the other on what if or what could be.
That's a really neat way to put it, yeah.
Cool. Okay, 2 down. What's the third pair?
Third is thinking, T, versus feeling, F. And this one's all about how you prefer to make decisions.
Decision-making style.
Thinking types, T, tend to prioritize objective logic. They analyze pros and cons, look for fairness, consistency, sort of a detached analytical approach.
Okay, logic first.
Yeah. Feeling types, F, on the other hand, tend to base decisions more on values, personal considerations, how the decision will affect the people involved, harmony, that sort of thing.
So more about the human impact and personal values.
Got it.
Logic versus values, roughly speaking. And the last one.
The last pair is judging, J, versus perceiving, P. This describes how you prefer to live your outer life, how you like to interact with the world around you.
Outer life, like how you organize stuff.
Kind of, yeah. Judging types generally prefer structure, plans, schedules. They like things decided, settled, orderly. They feel better once a decision is made.
Okay, the planners?
You could say that. Perceiving types, P, tend to be more flexible, adaptable, spontaneous. They like to keep their options open, gather more information, and they're comfortable adapting as they go.
Right, more go with the flow.
Exactly. So you pick one preference from each pair, E or I, S or N, T or F, and J or P.
And boom, you get your 4-letter type.
Yeah.
Like ISTJ or ENFP or whatever it might be.
That's it. And the idea is that this code, this type, offers insights into your natural tendencies, your habits.
How you communicate, maybe.
Yeah.
How you handle stress.
Yeah, all of that. Even, like you said, how you plan a vacation or how quickly you reply to a text message. It maps out your core personality, those underlying traits that make you, well, you.
Okay, this is where it gets interesting, I think. Seeing it in action.
Yeah.
Let me maybe walk through some examples. Like, how would these types actually look day to day? Maybe thinking about examples here in Taiwan.
Definitely. Let's make it real. Take the INFJ, for instance, sometimes called the deep thinker or the advocate.
Okay, INFJ.
You might picture this person finding real peace, sitting alone in a quiet, cozy cafe, sipping some nice oolong tea.
Yeah, I can see that.
They're probably lost in thought, maybe journaling, maybe reading something with deep meaning. Their energy really comes from that quiet, internal reflection.
Okay, clear picture. Now flip that. What about, say, an ENFP? The adventurer or campaigner.
Totally different vibe. An ENFP. Okay, you might suddenly get an excited voice note in your line group chat
Yeah.
because they've just had this amazing, spontaneous idea. Guys, weekend trip. Let's go to Taitung. Now. Barely any plan, just pure enthusiasm. Their energy is outward, infectious.
Love it. Okay, who else? How about ISTJ? You mentioned planners before.
Yes, the ISTJ. Often seen as the planner or the logistician, this is the person who, for that group trip the ENFP just suggested, they've probably already mentally drafted an itinerary, or maybe even physically started one, train times, budgets for meals, maybe even looked up booking options.
Wow. Organized.
Very. They thrive on that structure and predictability. They feel comfortable when things are sorted out. Definitely a planner.
Okay. And then who's the life of the party? Like at KTV?
Good question. That could easily be the ESFP, often called the performer or the entertainer.
ESFP.
They're probably the first one grabbing the mic, totally in the moment, high energy, and maybe also posting 3 Instagram stories before the first song is even over.
Huh. Sounds familiar.
Yeah.
What about someone more analytical, lost in thought?
That sounds a lot like the INTP, the thinker or the logician. They might be physically present at the gathering, but mentally.
Miles away.
Totally. Deep down a YouTube rabbit hole, maybe researching the history of karaoke machines or suddenly learning about quantum physics or a new coding language. Just pure intellectual curiosity, very analytical.
Right. And one more maybe. Someone. Quieter, but always there for people.
That really makes me think of the ISFJ. The defender or the quiet supporter.
Right, ISFJ. Okay.
They might not be the loudest in the room, but they're the ones who remembered it was your birthday last week or brought snacks to the study session because they thought people might get hungry.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, they often show their care through thoughtful actions, very dependable, very supportive.
Seeing these sketches, it really helps connect the letters to actual people. It starts to make sense why my best friend needs total alone time after work. Well, I just want to hit the night market buzz.
Exactly. It gives you a framework, a language to understand those differences, not just socially either.
Right. You mentioned work before. That's huge, too. Understanding why maybe your coworker needs every detail in a report, while another just wants to brainstorm big picture ideas.
Absolutely. The workplace is full of these different styles. The framework suggests certain types might naturally gravitate towards or excel in different kinds of work environments or roles.
Like who? Give us some examples.
Well, take the ESTJ, often called the executive. They tend to like structure, clear hierarchies, getting things done efficiently. You often find them in leadership roles, organizing the team, driving projects forward.
Okay, the natural managers maybe?
Yeah.
What about INFPs? They sound quite different.
Very different. Often, INFPs, the mediator, tend to be very idealistic. They're often looking for work that really resonates with their personal values, making a difference, contributing to something they believe in that's usually key for them.
Right. Driven by purpose.
Yeah.
And you mentioned idea machines earlier.
The ENTPs. The debater, or the visionary. Yes. They often love intellectual challenges, brainstorming, exploring possibilities, fast-paced environments where they can toss around new ideas. That's often where they shine. Very creative in that generative way.
Okay. And quieter creatives.
Yeah.
Maybe behind the scenes.
That could point towards someone like an ISFP, the adventurer, or the artist. They often prefer quieter focus, maybe working with their hands, or bringing a strong sense of aesthetics or practical skill to a project. Often very creative, but perhaps expressed more subtly or through tangible work.
Yeah, I can totally picture these different types in meetings, or even just like figuring out a big group lunch order online. You see these preferences play out.
You really do. And just having that awareness can sometimes make teamwork a bit smoother, maybe fostering a bit more appreciation for why people approach tasks so differently.
So it makes sense why this whole MBTI thing is so popular then. It feels Relatable.
I think it's a huge part of it. It's pretty accessible, right? You get this 4-letter code, you read the description, and for a lot of people, it just clicks. They think, wow, that sounds surprisingly like me.
Yeah, that feeling of being seen or understood.
Exactly. It can be quite validating. Plus, it's become so shareable. It's all over social media, isn't it?
Totally. People put it in their dating bios, their work intros on Slack or whatever, share memes about their type on threads.
It becomes this easy conversation starter, a quick way to signal something about yourself. And let's be honest, it's kind of fun to recognize the patterns. It gives you these little labels, this shorthand for behavior.
So if someone listening is thinking, okay, I'm curious now, what is my type? How do they find out?
Well, the most common way people do it now is by taking one of the many free MBTI-style tests online. If you just search something like free personality type test or MBTI-style quiz, you'll find loads of options.
Okay. Are they accurate, like the official thing?
It's important to know they aren't the official paid MBTI assessment. They're more like interpretations based on the theory. But honestly, they can give you a really good starting point, a likely type to explore.
And once you have a possible type, you can read more about it.
Exactly. And maybe start trying to guess the types of people you know. Friends, family, coworkers. See if the patterns fit based on what we've talked about. It can be a fun little exercise.
Adds a new lens to people watching, maybe.
For sure. A new way to think about interactions.
Okay, so we should probably touch on some of that specific language we've been using. We threw around words like personality, traits, extrovert, introvert. Maybe we can quickly define those in this context.
Good idea. Yeah, so personality itself in this context is basically that whole combination of characteristics or qualities that make you distinct, make you who you are.
Like everyone has a different personality, and that's what makes life interesting.
Exactly. And within that, we talked about extrovert and introvert. An extrovert is someone who, remember, gets energy from being around others.
Right, like she's such an extrovert, always chatting and meeting new people.
Perfect. And an introvert prefers quieter settings, solitude to recharge.
Like he's an introvert and loves reading alone at home. Makes sense.
Then we have traits. These are just the specific qualities or features that make up that personality.
So you could say kindness and creativity are among her best traits.
Yep. We also use spontaneous. That just means doing things without a lot of planning ahead.
Like that ENFP deciding on a whim. His spontaneous decision led to a fun road trip.
Exactly. The opposite of that might be the planner, someone who really likes to organize things in advance.
Ah, the ISTJ example. She's a planner. Her entire week is color-coded in a calendar.
Definitely. We also mentioned supportive, which is about offering encouragement or help.
Like the ISFJ.
Yeah.
He's always supportive of his teammates during meetings.
And creative. That's about being able to come up with new, original ideas.
Could apply to many types, but maybe like the ENTP or ISFP in different ways. Her creative thinking helps solve the problem quickly.
2 more key ones we touched on. Idealistic. That means having high goals or principles, focusing on how things should be.
We link that to INFPs. INFPs are known for their idealistic outlook on life.
Right. And finally, analytical. That's being skilled at breaking down information using logic to solve problems.
Like the INTP researching deeply. His analytical nature helps him excel in research roles.
So yeah, those terms just help us talk about all these different facets of personality we've explored.
Okay, that's super helpful context for the language. So wrapping things up, it feels important to say, again, this MBTI framework, it's not like hard science, is it?
No, that's a really crucial point. It's not viewed as a scientifically validated instrument in the same way some other psychological tests are. There's criticism about its reliability and validity.
But it is popular for a reason.
Absolutely. Think of it more as a tool for self-discovery, for reflection. It gives you a language, a structure to think about yourself and others. It's a starting point for understanding, not a definitive label set in stone.
Right. It offers a new way to look at your own habits, your preferences, and maybe appreciate why your friend or coworker operates so differently.
Exactly. Whether you see yourself as that quiet type, maybe sipping tea somewhere peaceful like Yulon, or you're the energetic one planning the next big group trip to Pangu.
It just gives you a lens, a way to think about that diversity.
It fosters a bit of introspection about your own personality, hopefully, and maybe some empathy for the huge variety of traits out there. It can spark some really interesting conversations.
Which really just leaves one big question for you, the listener, to maybe mull over after hearing all this.
So what's your type?
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Until next time.